Ahoy! How are you today? Well, I hope. So, I wanted to share something with you. I purchased something a week or so ago outside of the normal shit I buy. Well, maybe not so far outside. Time will tell. But before we get to that, I want to talk to you briefly. I know a teeny bit about a cat that none of you have heard of, and until a week ago, I had never heard of him either. His name is Anthony Frisiano, and his given name was Antonio, but he went by Anthony. He was born on June the 8th, 1904, in Baltimore, Maryland, and he died December the 20th, 1974, at the ripe old age of 70 in Pasadena, Maryland. So he lived in Maryland his entire life. I have no idea how far Pasadena and Baltimore are, but I'm assuming they're in the vicinity. Maryland's not that big. Now, Anthony worked in the editorial department for the Baltimore News Post for nearly 50 years. So basically his entire life. He was an artist. He played the saxophone and the piano. The artwork, which I will show you here in a moment, led to photography, I'm going to guess later in his years. And he was married to a woman named Elizabeth Shanahan. Now, do you ever see things, I'm sure you do, that you immediately see and they evoke no emotion, which is almost worse than a bad emotion, right? Because no emotion is just, you're just like, eh. Well, when I saw this, it evoked an immediate emotion. I had to have it. I spared no expense. I bought it. And what this is a published illustration that I'm guessing appeared in the Baltimore News somewhere in the late 30s to no later than early 41, January, perhaps February. And you'll know why I believe that in a minute. In fact, you know what? Let me just show you this. This is just something that I found, and for some reason it had a real effect on me. And I don't know. Again, just wanted to share it with you. Here, take a look. So take a look at this and tell me this isn't one of the coolest things you've ever seen. I know I love trains, but who doesn't love death, dice, and a cool car? Now, this is an original illustration that was published in what I believe to be the Baltimore News, late 30s, maybe 1940, early 1941, again by Anthony Frisiano, who worked for the Baltimore News for nearly 50 years. But let me zoom in here. You can see, well, what he drew originally in pencil, that "Don't gamble with death," originally was down here, and at some point he changed his mind, erased it. And again, you can see the lines that he drew to ensure the lettering would all be essentially the same size and level. See that there? So this entire thing was drawn in pencil, and then Mr. Frisino came back with some pen and ink and colored it in. And at some point it was published in, I believe, the newspaper. I guess I can't swear to that. But then this original illustration was gifted to a gentleman, which I'll show you right now. But just take a look at that. I don't know when it was matted. I'm going to guess it's been a minute. This label here was typed. So I'm going to say probably the 40s. But here, let me flip this over. Take a look at the backside here. So here's the backside. As you can see, this was shown during a talk by Charles L. Howard before the Junior Arts Club, I'll butcher that city, Michigan, February the 17th, 1941. So this is before the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. You can see here, Mr. Frisino gifted this to Charles Howard. I don't know when, but again, see all the ink marks after after Mr. Frisino drew this, he came back with pen and ink, and this is the original drawing. Let's take a look at the front again. I don't know what happened to Mr. Howard, but he obviously was pretty fond of this and kept it for many, many years. And again, based on this tape, I would argue this has been matted for some time. Some time. I will now be on the hunt to see if I can find if this was indeed published. I need to get a hold of the Baltimore News Post, circa late 30s, early 40s. But let's take one quick look at the front again. So here we are back at the front. Again, as I come in, zoom in there, you can kind of see the lines of just under with death. Well, and the E for gamble. I just think it's amazing. And it will be framed shortly and will hang in my home with honor for a long time. And yes, I'm going to keep this original mat with Anthony's sticker there. My hunch is this was shown at that art show as we see it here in this matting, on what could be done and not be done. Perhaps Anthony and Charles were buddies, but I just think this is fantastic. I love trains. Who doesn't love death? Who doesn't love that cool car? And who doesn't love the dice? Huh? Pretty cool. Anyway, thank you again so much for watching. In this world, when you could be anything you want, you be kind, you be humble, be forgiving, and you know what? I'll post this on Instagram once I get it framed here in the next week or so. Thanks for watching. Bye.